So Raw last night was opened up by Cody Rhodes, The Judgment Day, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso for about the 28th week in a row. Like seriously, every single week is just any combination of these guys just opening the show, and I get Raw has its formula that it sticks to, but just mix it up once in a while. He opened the show and talks about why he saved Jey Uso last week, leading to the Judgment Day coming out, and it leads to a big brawl between the faces and the heels, where the faces come on top due to the 4-on-3 advantage that they have, and they clear the ring of the Judgment Day. But then JD McDonough comes down from the ramp wielding 2 chairs. He gives one to Finn Balor, and now the numbers are even as it's 4v4, and they run back into the ring and charge the ring again to charge at the baby faces, but due to hesitation from Damian Priest, who's, you know, still teasing his dissension and breakup from the Judgment Day with his Money in the Bank run that he's going on right now. And as a result, the Judgment Day are beaten down once again, and once Damian Priest does eventually get into the ring, he especially is just absolutely jumped and ganged up on by the babyfaces. They beat that man's ass. So obviously, I think everyone's deducing that this is probably going to lead to a War Games match at Survivor Series in November, which means we're going to have to deal with these guys opening the show up for another, like, 10 weeks, which is great fun. And after that, we have a bit of Hoss action as it's Otis versus Bronson Reed. Listen, I love meaty men slapping meat. Big Hoss matches in wrestling are a rarity nowadays, and they are just the best. And this one was cool. This one was a cool match. I've always liked Otis, especially in recent years since his Alpha Academy stuff they're doing. He's been really good in that. I've always been a fan of him in general. Oh yeah. And Bronson Reed, what can I say about him? He's always been awesome. A guy I've always really liked since he was signed to NXT before his initial firing. And it seems like he's a guy they're putting a bit of a push to and giving a bit more extended focus, because he got the win here, and it seems like recently they've been building up his momentum a bit more. So hopefully there's some big things to come for Bronson Reed. Maybe an IC title match against Gunther. That could be pretty fun. Another big Hoss match. That would be pretty awesome to see. But on the topic of Gunther and the Intercontinental Championship, it looks as though Tommaso Ciampa is going to be the one that is challenging him. And he faces Ludwig Kaiser in the next match here, and he manages to win this match due to a bit of dissension from Imperium, with Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser being on different pages, and Vinci inadvertently costing Ludwig Kaiser the match when he distracted the referee after he was getting checked on and missed Ludwig's pin, which could have won the match, and leading to Tommaso Ciampa then stealing the win from him. So cool, another stable dissension storyline. I highly doubt Imperium actually break up, right? Because surely that's what they're doing with Judgment Day. Are they really going to do 2 at once? I feel like maybe they'll tease it with Imperium, but they won't actually break them up. I wouldn't be surprised if they break up. I mean, no stable or team ever stays together in the WWE for a long time other than the New Day. So yeah, it would not surprise me if they did break up, but they shouldn't. They really shouldn't. Not at least until Gunther has his eyes set on a world title run. Not at least until that. Next up, we have a backstage segment with Becky Lynch being approached by Tegan Nox, which is just brilliant, fantastic. Finally, some new women being shown on TV and actually getting TV time here. Can we please get Candice LeRae on TV next? Her and Becky Lynch have a chat. Becky Lynch says that she was disappointed that Tegan didn't answer the open challenge last week and that it was Natalya instead of her. And a match is made between Tegan Nox and the winner of Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton at No Mercy on next week's Raw, depending on who wins the title in that match, if Becky retains or if Tiffany Stratton wins it. So Tegan Nox is getting an NXT title match and a big match on Raw next week, which is great to see. Natalya then comes in, talks about how she thinks she deserves a rematch against Becky even though she lost last week, and that of course sets up a match between herself and Tegan, which only goes a couple of minutes, with Tegan Nox of course picking up the win. Good to see Tegan on TV. Seth Rollins comes out for an in-ring promo, and he is discussing his feud going on with Shinsuke Nakamura that they've got going on. Shinsuke Nakamura gets on the Titantron, and we get a match announcement that the two will be facing off in a last man standing match at WWE Fastlane. Fastlane being the next pay-per-view, I didn't even realize, by the way. That's so, like, random to me. Fastlane I've always associated as being between the Rumble and WrestleMania. You know, in that Elimination Chamber area, you know, either before or after the Chamber. It's a bit weird to see it happening in October, but hey, it's fine. I'm not against it. Like, remember when WWE replaced the Chamber that year in February with Fastlane? Like, they didn't have the Chamber, but they had Fastlane. That was a dreadful decision. So honestly, keep it here. Let's not risk ever losing the Chamber pay-per-view ever again. NXT North American Champion Dirty Dom is defending his championship against Dragon Lee up next, and this was a really cool match. Good little match here. I'm a big fan of Dragon Lee, and of course Dirty Dom got the win here in a cool high-flying match here to retain his title, and it was good for Dom to get a win without the help of Rhea Ripley. Shows that he's a strong character that can get the wins by himself, and I think that's an aspect of Dom that WWE really needs to build on, so it's good that they've got him this big win over Dragon Lee, and this NXT North American title reign he's having is definitely an opportunity to showcase more of his single skills. Next up, Nia Jax is out for an interview in the ring with Michael Cole. You know me, you know I love Nia Jax. I am one of the very rare few Nia Jax fans on the planet. I was very excited to see her return to the WWE when she did. Zoe Stark comes out. She was one of the 4 women who was attacked by Nia Jax last week, and she challenges Nia Jax to a match right then and there after they have a brawl, and the match of course happens. It's mentioned in commentary that Shayna Baszler is not out with Zoe Stark due to Nia Jax's attack on Shayna Baszler, and I just have to address that people actually believe that these people being out like Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler because of these injuries from Nia Jax is actually shoot. Like, people actually believe that this is real. No, it's work. They're just building up Nia Jax's character, okay? These people aren't actually injured, at least I don't think so. But I'm seeing people genuinely getting angry about Nia Jax injuring people, especially last week or the week before when she attacked Rhea Ripley. People genuinely thought that Rhea Ripley had been injured by her when she wasn't on TV the next week. Obviously, it's interesting that the WWE are leaning into like Nia Jax's injury history and whatnot, but hey, if it works to get heel heat, then I'm all for it, and I'm a big fan of Nia Jax, and I think she's had a good return so far. Regardless, her and Zoe Stark have a match here. It goes under 3 minutes. It's pretty much a squash match. For what they got there, it wasn't that bad. I mean, they didn't really have the time to do anything. They did what they could. There was a spot where Zoe Stark attempted to lift Nia Jax, and for a second had her on her shoulders, but collapsed forward and just wasn't able to withhold the weight. And Nia Jax got the win with what looks to be her new finishing move as she jumps from the middle rope and just kind of sits on her opponent. It is pretty brutal, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be her new finisher, and this was Nia Jax's first match since her return, and I gotta say, it's a good return for the GOAT. I don't get why Zoe Stark is being used this way though. I think she's easily one of the best in-ring workers in the women's division, and she's just came off of this big turning angle on Trish Stratus, who's literally one of the greatest women's wrestlers in WWE history, and she's just gone from that to being squashed like 2 weeks later. Like, come on now. There's other women on the roster, just let them be squashed by Nia Jax. Heck, get a local talent. Why did it need to be Zoe Stark? Drew McIntyre is a guest on Miz TV. I can't believe Miz TV segments are still going on in the great year of 2023, but here we are. He's talking about Jey Uso before he's interrupted by the New Day, and he talks about how on earth the New Day are able to have Jey on Raw and just welcome him here on the roster, and this leads to a match with Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston. Remember when these guys feuded for the IC title in 2010? God, where does the time go? 13 years ago, wow, that actually makes me want to die. And in what was my main event of the night, Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston had an extremely solid match, which is exactly what you'd expect from these guys. They have been so good for so consistently long. Drew McIntyre, of course, picks up the win here, and the main event that was actually the main event of the show was the Judgment Day defending against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And yeah, I'll be honest, I only watched the highlights of this match. I fell asleep before watching this full match while I was watching the live broadcast, because like I said, I'm just so bored of watching these combinations of wrestlers fight each other. The Judgment Day versus either Kevin and Sami, or Kevin and Cody, or Sami and Cody. Please, just give me some new fresh faces, but we're going to have to deal with this until at least Survivor Series, but at least we'll get a War Games match for the blow-off, and we can finally just separate all these guys away from each other.